Welcome back. If you're searching for a new job, it can certainly be hard to know how to stand out from the pack.
Yeah, well, our next guest is an expert at helping employers and employees find a perfect match, and she's here with some tips to help us nail that dream job. Please welcome to the show HR consultant and executive recruiter, Val Upfold. Good to see you.
Thank you. This is such a great topic, but lay the landscape for us first, if you will, Val. How competitive is the Canadian job market right now?
Right now, unemployment is at about 6.1%. There's a lot about it in the news. People are worried. But I've got some good news. It's not as bad as you think. There are a lot of jobs out there that aren't even advertised. And on top of that, I specifically work in hospitality, so that's restaurants and hotels. Currently, there are 70,000 jobs just in that industry. So there's still a lot of jobs out there. You just have to keep your mind open and look in other ways.
Okay, so in terms of finding that dream job, how are people learning about openings these days? Is it mostly online? Is it word of mouth, networking? Like, what are some of the biggest ways?
I would say the main thing is networking, and that's also word of mouth, obviously. You need to meet as many people as you can, and also interview as much as you can. Even if that job is not your dream job, go for that interview. You're meeting a decision maker. You never know if they're gonna have your dream job next week, next month. They may talk to someone the next day.
Great point.
So meet them. And also meet people via LinkedIn. Find people that you want to be like, that have the jobs that you want. Send them a message and ask them if they can talk to you for a bit. That's why having an updated resume is, so important. I always say it's like having a passport. Always have it updated. You never know when you're going to need it.
So true. Yeah. I was always told it's very important to make a good first impression. So how do you make a good first impression in the application process?
Yeah, and that's definitely the first impression.
Yeah.
I have a few points. One that you think is super basic is just to spell check it. I can't tell you how many times.
Yes.
How many times, even for the most senior person, they have spelling mistakes. So just get someone else to look at it.
Yes.
Keep it to 2 pages max. People don't want to read a whole bunch of stuff. Keep it to 2 pages. Take off that high school lifeguarding job. You don't need all that stuff on there, right? Keep it pretty easy. Make sure your LinkedIn matches too. Sometimes it's not updated on LinkedIn. It's not a great look on your resume. It says something completely different than your LinkedIn.
Got it.
And one final thing is really important. If you have your picture or you have your address on your resume, take it off.
Why?
There's already bias around interviewing, and you're just contributing to that. So take off an address, take off the picture.
Wow.
That's very interesting.
really good.
All right, so I'm dying to hear your opinion about this. Are you for cover letters? Or do you not like cover letters? I know the way you're reacting, I'm like, you're not a fan of cover letters.
No, I don't know. I'm not really into cover letters.
Really?
No. I would say,
love a cover letter. I feel like that's my place to shine, but maybe it's a creative industry.
And I always feel like they never read it.
Well, that's the thing.
Okay.
Do you think people read it?
I hope so.
Well,
She's the HR
I
specialist
don't
and
think
you
so.
don't.
I don't think so.
Okay.
6 to 7 seconds is how long someone looks at your resume. They're not looking at your cover letter. Unless it says, maybe in your industry it says to send a cover letter. I was speaking to a hiring manager in a hotel, and she said send a cover letter with your resume.
She asked for that
She asked for it, and not one person out of hundreds sent it. So if they ask, send, because then you're standing out just by following the instructions.
Oh, right.
Yeah. I'm going to tuck this up while I ask you this next question.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, let's say I see a job listing, a posting, and I'm like, you know what? I think I'd be really great at that job. But all my experience is in a completely different field. So you're saying go for jobs, but then how would I navigate that?
And that's a bit of a tricky one, and something that takes some advanced planning. I get this question all the time. My first piece of advice, if you want to change industries, is to look internally first. See what opportunities exist where you are now. Tell people that you're interested in making a move, and then offer to do something else in that company that will get you different experience. I did that. I was a restaurant manager, and I wanted to get into HR, so I said, let me update your training manuals. Let me do a training seminar. And that got me my first HR job. So that's what you can do. If you don't have the opportunity internally, then there's lots of things you can do. You can job shadow. I had a friend who was a florist, and she wanted to be a florist, always thought she wanted that job.
Yep.
So she job shadowed, figured out very quickly she hated it because she had to stand in the fridge, and she didn't like to be cold, so job shadow.
That's amazing. That's a great tip. You say that there are a few things we can do before we even get an interview. What are those things?
Yeah, you want to make sure that you are prepared. you're sort of nervous when you're waiting for that interview, so go on LinkedIn, send messages to people that work at that company. Just introduce yourself. You want as many people to know your name as possible. And also, once you get that interview, send an email on LinkedIn again to the person just to say, looking forward to meeting you tomorrow. No one does that, and it also sort of helps take away a bit of those nerves, you know, with that first interview. You've seen the person, you've sort of had an intro to them, so that helps with that too.
All right, so you've spell-checked your resume, you've decided to scrap the cover letter, you finally got the interview, yay!
Yeah.
Now, how do you stand out in the interview?
And this is a really important thing. 4 quick tips. 1, make sure you know how people dress at that company. If it's a super easygoing, chill vibe, you do not want to show up in a 3-piece suit and vice versa. Virtual, in-person, dress the same way. Practice. Write down all your highlights, things you've done, your experience, and then practice in front of a mirror. Get comfortable talking about yourself in front of a mirror. Have questions prepared to ask at the end. So always say, do you have a question? If you say no, come on, no one knows everything about that company. Have questions ready to go for the end of it.
Okay, so we only have about a minute left, so, and this is the most important question.
All right.
We finally get an offer. How do we effectively negotiate a salary, the best possible salary?
Yes.
Get a good lawyer.
Yes. Well, that does help. But I feel like there's a few things you can do. Know the range and go for the highest amount so you have room to negotiate. Always go for the highest, gives you a bit of space. And also, if the salary is not negotiable, there's other things. You can negotiate waiving the benefit period, professional development allowance,
extra vacation days.
Extra vacation. So ask for those things. Employers are usually pretty good to do that.
Okay.
We love this segment, Val. Thank you. Great tips.
Thank you.
Great tips. All right, I hope you were taking notes.
Hey there, what did you think? Drop your comments below and join the conversation. And don't forget to like and subscribe so you can find more on everything from food and fashion to pop culture and current events. See you soon.